Hello, power players, and thank you for joining me today. I wanted to give you an update on my potential hip replacement. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I had to go to the doctors to find out if I needed to get a hip replacement. So respectfully, I just wanted to update you guys because most of you are super caring. I mean, all of you are really super caring, and I want you to know what happened from that, right? So let's go. Welcome, power players. It's your girl Salintae T, and I'm here to help guide you on your pursuit of happiness with these power tips. Make sure you hit that like button if something resonates with you. Hit the subscribe button so you can get these power tips weekly, and make sure to comment because I want to hear how you're making it happen. So let me take you back to the beginning when I found out I needed to get a hip replacement. It was a couple years ago. I was in the hospital, in and out for unrelated issues, right? All had to do with my sickle cell, so I was in and out of the hospital. So I brought up the fact that I was in pain in my hip area. So they gave me an x-ray. So the doctor got the x-ray. The next thing I knew, he was literally running into my room, talking about, "Are you okay?" And I'm laying there in the bed like, yeah, like nothing has changed since I last saw you, right? So he was like, "I got your x-rays back. And the films show that you should be in a lot more pain than you're exhibiting." The films showed that my hip has deteriorated. So this is a normal sickle cell issue. A common issue, I should say. So what happens is the bone doesn't receive enough oxygen at the end of the joint, so it starts kind of deteriorating, aka dying, and then it starts to be really rough at the end. So the impact should be very painful and unbearable, really, right? So from what he saw on my films, he was like, "You should be screaming in pain right now." Now, I don't know why that is. I'm not saying that it's because I can endure a lot of pain. I just think that the pictures look worse than it is. It's painful from time to time, but it's not that painful at all. So I don't know where he was coming from with that. But anyways, regardless. So that was when I discovered that I would need a hip replacement. Now, he said at that point, "We won't need a hip replacement until the pain gets worse, and you can come in and let me know when that starts to happen." Fine. That was good with me. So fast forward to COVID times, where I just started to feel a lot more pain, and I don't know if it was because I was working from home. I didn't have the right chair at the time, so I was sitting on different, couches, benches, whatever worked at the time, and I don't think that was really conducive to my pain area. It could also be because I bought my daughter a trampoline, and obviously I'm the type of mom that I want to be in the trampoline too. So I was jumping on the trampoline for a while. Keep in mind that my hip hadn't bothered me since I had that x-ray, right? And was in the hospital. So I wasn't even thinking about my hip during these times. Also during COVID, my daughter was home a lot more, so I was lifting her up, doing all sorts of things with her, right? And obviously I'm not blaming my daughter. That will never happen. So these are things that just might have contributed to the fact that I started to feel more pain in my hip. So I decided to reach out to the doctor and to have, I got x-rays done. I just let him know that I was now experiencing a lot more pain in my hip area. So maybe we need to revisit getting a hip replacement. Because I didn't know what the criteria exactly was to get a hip replacement. I just knew that he said to let him know when I had more pain. So that's what I did. So got the x-ray, and while I was waiting, I was scared for the results, and I think that's what I expressed on Instagram, that I was just a little bit anxious around it. Got called into the doctor's appointment. Okay, what does he have to say? Like, what is it going to be? Am I getting a hip replacement? Because when you get a replacement, you have to then, and know me, because of sickle cell, whatever the healing process is going to be a little bit longer for a sickler such as myself. So I know I'd be in the hospital longer than the average person. I would be on bed rest longer than the average person. And that's not really something I was looking forward to, considering I have a 2-year-old, right? So I was anxious about that. And I was also anxious about the fact that if I had to get the hip replacement, was it going to be now during COVID times? Because going into the hospital without having any visitors, that's really depressing. And I feel sorry for those that had to endure that during COVID. I definitely feel for them. So no visitors, the scare of getting COVID while being in the hospital as an immunocompromised person, that was really scary and anxious, and made me very anxious. So while I wanted a hip replacement to relieve the pain, I also didn't want it at that time. So all these things running through my head: fears, excitement of newness, worry that my daughter will be okay if I had to get it done, all sorts of things, right? Go to the doctor's appointment. What do you have to say, doctor? And I love this doctor, orthopedic doctor. He's pretty cool. So he's always straight up with me. Those are the type of doctors that I enjoy. So he said, yeah, like there's not much change from a couple years ago when I first got my x-ray to now. So that's good. That means that it's slowly deteriorating. It's not deteriorating fast, so I can probably go another couple years. However, he said that I need to be careful of doing certain things. I didn't tell him that I was jumping on the trampoline. But in my mind, I obviously clocked that as I can't be doing that with my daughter, which is sad for me, but it's just something that I have to accept for my well-being, right? And I don't want to fall down and break a hip and unexpectedly have to be admitted to the hospital. That would be worse for my daughter, I feel. So he said to be careful about certain things. Don't just turn around and run because I could break a hip. So now I'm in the category of someone who can just break a hip, right? So when I say, oh, I can't do that, I might break a hip, like that's literally that's real. That's not a joke anymore. That's real for me. So he expressed that normally when people get hip replacements, they are in a lot more pain than I was. They usually come in with walking with a cane, really, really limping and taking medication all the time. And that's not me. So he said he suggests that I hold off on the hip replacement because normally when you get a hip replacement, you need to get another one within another 30 years. So he's trying to hold off so I don't have to get another one. Which then made me think, so you only think I'm going to live to about 60, 65? Like, sir, I'm going to need a second one regardless, right? Because I plan on living a long and healthy and prosperous life. Amen? Amen. Thank you. But that's neither here or there. And so the good news is that I get to wait to get my hip replacement. The bad news is that I did get emotional. I didn't let him see it, but I did get emotional because I kind of just wanted a new hip so that I can do the things with my daughter I want to do, do other physical activities that I want to do for myself. Like I would love to start playing tennis, for one, with my daughter and by myself. But I'm scared to do that now because I don't want to. Obviously, tennis is a jerking sport. And I'm scared I will break a hip because I don't want to say I'm living in the body of an old lady, but you know what I mean. Certain areas are not as young as they should be at this age. So I got emotional about that. I just got emotional about the fact that I had to live with this pain for another couple years, and when the time is right, I will advocate for myself to get the hip replacement when I feel it's necessary for myself. But for now, I agree with the doctor that I can hold off, right? But it was sad to know that, yeah, I do have to live with pain. I do have to, this is just another thing that I have to live around and incorporate into my life. And as someone living with a chronic illness, we're used to kind of disappointments. It doesn't get any easier, mind you, but it's something that we're used to. And you need to be adaptable if you have a chronic illness because you will go to the doctors expecting to hear one thing and you hear something else, right? So when you're not adaptable, you start to become frustrated, pissed off, sad, and very stressed out. Mind you, it's okay to feel all of those emotions a little bit, But when you're not adaptable, you really become stubborn over those emotions, and that can really hinder your life. That can really hinder your mental state and how you your outlook on life. So the best thing for me is just to respect that this is my journey for now. It can change at any time, and I'll have to be adaptable again, right? But for now, this is my journey. I'm thankful because it could be worse. I'm thankful that I have more time to quote unquote prepare for hip replacement, to get my daughter in a state where she can be without me for an extended period of time, to get my village in a state that they will be capable of taking care of my daughter. So it comes with its benefits, right? And everything in life comes with its pros and cons. And that's our job to seek those out. When you're feeling down about something, try to find the positive in it, because there is positive around it, right? It wouldn't be happening if there wasn't a lesson, if there wasn't something you can grow from and with in the situation. So I just encourage other people with illnesses and trials to just be adaptable. Look for the good, look for the opportunities, look for the pros of the situation. It's not all bad. If it was all bad, we would be dead. That's when it's all bad, right? So just be thankful for another day to live, another day to explore. And that's my power tips for this week. All right? So leave any comments. If you've had a similar experience with hip replacements, I would love to know them. I'm always seeking out information on other people's experiences. So please hit me up and let me know. Thanks for listening. Much love, your Resiliency and chronic illness coach, Salintae. Bye, y'all.